Hello, hello. Welcome to our Esther Bible study. I'm so excited to get this study started with you guys. I'm just going to upload these videos as I have time. Hopefully I can do one a day. If not, then that's okay too. But I wanted to do a introduction video because we always want to know what we're reading about, what the context is, where this is placed, why is it written, what kind of literature is it, whatever. So this is what this video is for. So the book of Esther, this is a historical narrative. So this is history. This is a historical narrative. This is a book that is situated sometime after the decree of Cyrus, King Cyrus of Persia, in 536 BC, but it's before Ezra and Nehemiah. So, a little backstory here. Israel went to exile because they were disobedient to the Lord. They were worshiping false gods. They were doing all kinds of things. And the Lord said back in Deuteronomy, if you follow my commands and do all the things that I tell you to do, then you're going to prosper in the land that I give you. And if you don't, then you're going to go to exile and you're going to learn the hard way that I'm the Lord and you should worship me, whatever. Anyway, so of course Israel does not obey the Lord because simple nature and brokenness of people, and they go into exile. So after exile, 70 years of exile, the Lord had told them, after 70 years, I'm going to call you back home. He does. And this book, they're going back home to Israel, to Jerusalem. But some people stay back. I don't know if it's because they've been there for 70 years. Some of these people have spent their whole life here and they just want to stay here. I don't know the issue, but for some reason, the characters that are Jewish in this story, they have stayed here. They have chose to not go back to Jerusalem. Okay, so the book of Esther, it never mentions the name of God, which is really interesting. It never mentions the Lord, it never mentions God, it never says anything about him, but his fingerprints are literally on every single page. So exciting. And then it helps you see, like, in your own life, you can look back and be like, oh my gosh, that was God working this out. That was God working this out. So anyway, God's hand is in all the details, though, or through all time. And that's the main theme of this book. God's hand is in the details. This is written at a time when God's people would likely question his power. They would question because they had just spent 70 years in exile. Like, where is God when this nation comes in and overtakes us and burns down the temple and takes us all off? Like, where's God in that, right? So these people are questioning, they would be questioning God's power, because back in those days, when you had a war between countries, it was a war between gods. So they thought the Babylonian God was stronger and greater than their God because he took them off into Babylon, into exile. When really it was God stirring up Babylon to come and take them over because he wanted them sent into exile. So God's hand was all over this. So they would have questioned God's power. Esther is a book that uses a Jewish girl. So Esther is the Jewish girl. She risked her life to save the people of God. Through every detail in the story, through every detail of the story, God is clearly working for his glory and for the protection of his people. There's themes in this that you need to recognize. There's feast and fast. They play some kind of a role in the structure of the book, where there is a change of heart in Esther and also the rise and fall of a guy named Haman. One of the key verses in the book is Esther 4:14, where Mordecai tells her, if you remain silent at this time, relief may come through someone else, or it is going to come through someone else. But perhaps you were created for a time such as this and put into this position to save the Jews. Like, this is your reason for being here. The story doesn't actually revolve around just Esther, but also her uncle Mordecai and his great faith in the Lord's deliverance, which also inspires her to act in faith. The purpose of the book in itself, why is it in the Bible? Because it explains the original circumstances leading to one of the Jewish feasts. which is called Purim, the Feast of Purim. So that its meaning would never be forgotten, because you need to commemorate and remember why you do certain holidays, certain feasts, certain things. So they made the story written for that purpose, so everyone will remember how God delivered them. An outline of the book. I'm struggling. The outline of the book here. I've got it. How am I going to do this? Okay. So chapters 1 and 2, this talks about a king's banquet, how they honor the kingdom, and then they honor the new queen. Chapter 3 is Haman's edict. Chapters 4 and 5 is the queen's courage, urging of Mordecai, and approaching the king. And then chapters 6 through 7 is God's deliverance and how Mordecai is honored and Haman is hanged. So those chapters 1 through 7 is hard times. Hard times. Chapter 8 is Mordecai's edict. Chapter 9 is the Jews rejoicing. The enemies are destroyed. The feast is established. And then chapter 10 is Shalom, or peace. And this is happy times. 8 through 10 is happy times. And how God's providence among his people is during hard times and happy times. God is there working through all of it. He is providing at all times, whether it's good or whether it's bad, God is using it. So the first set here is the circumstances are threat and trust. And then chapters 8 through 10 is deliverance and praise. Or, well, I guess let's say 7 to 10 is deliverance and praise. There's different feasts. So chapters 1 through 3 is Feast of a King. Chapters 4 to 7, we'll say, is of the Queen. My lines are messed up on here, so I'm having issues, but it's okay. And then the feast from 8 to 10 is the Feast of a Nation. So we go from the Feast of a King, the Feast of a Queen, to the Feast of a Nation. The theme is the sovereign accomplishment of God's purposes through ordinary people and apparent coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. This is all the hand of God moving. There is no coincidence. So let's see. Christ in Esther. Where can you find Jesus in Esther? So Christ is pictured in Esther, who is the advocate for her people, who is even willing to die for them. So I'm super excited. I hope this answered all the pre-book questions that you may have had. You don't have to use my outline. You can find another one on the internet if you want to. But I actually found one and printed it out and taped it right in my Bible. So if you want to do that, you can. If not, then that's okay too. You don't have to do any of this stuff. I'm not your mom. But I'm super excited to get started in the book of Esther. The first chapter just had me on the edge of my seat. I was so pumped when I was studying it out. And I hope that you guys enjoy it just as much as I did. Hopefully we will get it a day at a time. I don't know. It depends on my schedule. It depends on work. It just depends on how often I can get in here. But hopefully, there's only 10 chapters, I think. Is that true, or am I lying? I think there's only 10 chapters. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's only 10. So anyway, I'm super excited and I can't wait. And I guess that's it for this video. But I love you guys, and I will see you in chapter 1. Bye.